Do you love your child? Oh yes, 100% I do love my child. What sort of question is that? Are you wondering that? Then listen to my second question, this question. Do you actually practice the love that you have for your child? Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to give you spiritual and scientific answers to this problem or to this challenge of yours, which is how do you actually love your child when your child is rolling on the floor in that supermarket? How do you actually love your child when your child is kicking, punching and banging his legs out there and not listening to you? How do you actually love your child who is shouting at the top of his voice, of his or her voice? If you are going through such challenges, how can I actually stay calm and bring calmness in my child when my child is going through that? If you are going through that question, that challenge, then you are at the right place. And my dear parent, just stay till the end of this video and you're going to get your own answers, your own unique answers. Now, so the question is this: do you love your child? Yes, we all love our child. We all love our child. We kind of hug our children. The cuddles that you do, the hugs that you do, the kisses that you do, and the number of times that you say I love you, it's all fine, right? Maybe you've carried your newborn and you've just felt, that rush of emotion of love that was inside of you, that was coming out from you, was so good, right? Did you actually recall the moment that you carried your newborn when I told this? Yes. And then maybe your child has fallen asleep and you're looking at your child. Oh my God, my child is such a lovely child and I just love him so much. Yes, you do feel love for your child. You do love your child. That's important. That is there. Yes, as a parent, you do love your child, right? Now, knowing that you love a person is different from realizing the love that you have for that person, and is different from practicing the love that you have for that person. Let me repeat that. Knowing that you love a person is different from realizing that you love that person, is different from practicing your love for that person. Yes, that's my point here, dear parents. So when your child, yes, you love your child, but showing your love for your child, maybe when your child is sleeping, maybe after you've had a terrible day, fighting with all the conflicts, with all the temper tantrums, the day was filled with that, and towards the end, right after your child sleeps, you just say I love you, or maybe you're just hugging your child and you're saying I love you. Yes. So during the day when all those things have happened, where was that? Why was not that love be shown at that point of time? Yes, get my point? So when the child is actually rolling on the floor in the supermarket, when the child is actually shouting out loud, when the child is actually banging, kicking and punching and hitting and doing whatever it is with his legs or hands or whatever it is, that is when you got to practice the love, that is, show the love that you have for your child. Not simply saying I love you, or not simply feeling the love that you have for your child, the 100%, more than 100% love that you have for your child when everything is cool, when you are on a vacation, when you are taking cheesy pictures, maybe on a festival day, maybe on a birthday, maybe maybe on some of the special occasions, marriage anniversary or something like that. Oh, such a good lovely family that you have. Yes, all that is there, all that should be there. I'm not saying it shouldn't be there, but love is actually unconditional. There are no conditions attached to it, right? So it's not that only when you finish the homework you are a good girl, you are a good boy, or I love you, or if you sleep immediately then I'll bring you this and then that means I love you, or something like that. So love as a word does not have any conditions attached to it. Even when the hell is breaking down, you still love your child. Even when the storm is raging in, you still love your child. Even when the child is shouting out loud there, you still love your child. Even when the child is rolling on the floor in the supermarket, you still love your child. Yes, you do. You love your child even during those times. But what happens right at that point of time? When you realize that love, I'm not saying you do not love your child. Apologies if you have got that. You do love your child. Only thing that you got to be aware in those moments where your blood is ready to be raging, yes, where the child is just not listening to you and rolling in front of the entire family gathering or in the supermarket, yes, only one thing that you got to remind yourself is the love that is already existing within you for the child. Most times what happens, we are not aware that yes, you do love your child, you have that love for your child. It never happens that love is absent within you. It is there, but you have to realize the presence of that love right at that moment when it is needed the most by your child and even by you. Yes, good. The first point is, at those times, at those challenging times, the first number one point is you have to remind yourself that yes, you have to remind yourself that you do have that love for your child. That means you have to realize your love for your child. You have to realize the presence of the love that you have for your child within you at that moment, right when the child has started to maybe started to did something and your blood has started to boiling, whatever it is. Yes, you have to, first point is you have to realize the love that is already present within you for your child at that moment. And the second thing is this. So again, when the child is going through something, tantrum, kicking, pushing, punching, rolling, crying, shouting, whatever it is, the child is going through certain emotions, right? Certain emotions. Love is also an emotion, right? So again, as spiritual beings, for that matter, everything, even a living thing or a non-living thing, everything has a frequency attached to it, right? So you are also operating at a certain frequency, you are vibrating at a certain frequency. That means every cell within you is vibrating at a certain frequency. Your child is also vibrating at a certain frequency. Even I am also vibrating at a certain frequency. The point is this: depending on the thoughts that you have certain emotions, and every emotion has a frequency attached to it, right? So when the child, the second point that you got to understand is, when the child is going through certain low emotion, draining emotion, maybe the child was tired, maybe the child was scared, maybe the child was frustrated, maybe the child was irritated, maybe the child was hungry, maybe the child was thirsty, maybe the child was helpless, trying to communicate something to you, and he was just not able to get the point across, and he ended up rolling on the floor in the supermarket. There is a certain emotion running inside a child which made the child behave that way, and that emotion is operating at a certain frequency, right? Just for this moment, just forget about the frequency, but your child is having certain emotion, and this emotion which is making him behave in a certain way which is maybe not pleasant in your perspective is a low emotion, is a draining emotion. His energy is being drained. And when people are actually going through such emotions, when you are going through a low emotion, when you are going through draining emotion, that is when they need love the most. Yes, the first point is, at that challenging time, you got to realize the love that is already present for your child towards your child at that moment. The second point is, when the child is already going through certain low emotions, that is when the child needs my love the most. Not when everything is cheesy, everything is good, we've gone for a vacation, for a restaurant, everything is on time, we got nice food, we've got nice room to stay, and sharing some dialogues of I love you. Yes, that is always there. But love is something that is most needed for people when people are going through low emotions. Yes, so everything has an emotion, everything has a frequency to it, everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. So basically everything is energy, for that matter. So even your emotion is an energy, so the love is an energy, and whatever the child is also going through, that emotion is also an energy, and it is of a low vibration. It is something that is draining the energy, right? The third point that you've got to realize is, let me show you this chart here. So if you actually look at this chart, the lower frequencies, if you look here, I'm just zooming in. If you look here, the lower frequencies, shame is the least frequency. The lowest vibration that you can have is shame. So when you are feeling shameful, when you are shaming your child, the child is being put in a very low frequency. And when the child is already crying, and to add fuel to the fire, you are shaming the child, saying, oh, for such a small reason you are crying, oh, you fell off the cycle, you're a brave girl, you're a brave boy, you're a big girl, you're a big boy, big children don't cry, you're shaming, right? But the child was already feeling sad for something, and that is also a low vibration emotion, low frequency emotion, and to that you are adding shame, so it is another low frequency emotion, right? So basically the point is this: when the child is going through low frequency emotions and the child is displaying certain unpleasant behavior to you in that situation. The low frequency emotions are shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, neutrality. Yeah, let's come up till here. The child is going through these low frequency vibrations. When the child is going through these low frequency vibration and you are supposed to be loving the child at that point of time, for that matter, you already are loving the child. You are supposed to realize the love that you have for the child at that point of time. You are supposed to practice the love that you have for your child at that point of time. And what is the frequency of love here? As you see, the frequency of love here is 500. It is of a higher vibration. And then comes joy, 540. And then comes peace, 600. And then comes enlightenment, that is kind of getting enlightened with the super consciousness, that is 700 to 1000. Yes. So you have to first realize the love that you have for your child. So you have to come up to the vibration of the frequency of 500. Now, when the child is vibrating with a lower frequency, he is going through some kind of low emotions, he is going through some kind of low vibrations, low frequency emotions, and you are again shaming the child. That means, again, speaking of this concept of when you are operating from a zone of shamefulness, you pass down the shame to your child. When you are operating from the zone of blame, you pass down blame to your child. When you are operating from a zone of, say, guilt, you pass down guilt to the child. I'll also be giving you real life examples. Just stay with this video. So when you are operating from a from a frequency of shame, from a zone of shame, that means you are vibrating at 20 frequency, and that is what is just passing, that is what is just getting passed down to the child. Yes, when you are operating from a zone of guilt, that is frequency of 30, that is what is getting passed down to the child. Of fear, you are feared. What will other people tell me when my child is crying? How will other people look at me? Or maybe the other person will judge me. Maybe that my uncle or my auntie will judge me. Yes, fear. You are operating from a frequency of fear, then you are passing down fear to your child. I'll also give you practical examples. Just stay tuned. This is the spiritual and scientific validation for what I'm sharing. I'll also share with you what practically is happening out there. And yeah, the point is this. So when you have to realize the love that you have for your child, at that moment when your child is already going through low emotions, you have to operate from the frequency of love. Yes, you have to operate at a 500 frequency or greater than 500 frequency. When you, that is you have to realize the love that you have for your child. Right at that point of time, that is when you can pass down love to your child. That is when you can pass down trust to your child. Yes. Now, how does it happen? So practically, how does it happen? So all this is good, right? Just sharing numbers and sharing, I mean, talking about this may seem good, but practically, how does it happen that when you are operating from a zone of shame, how can you pass down shame to your child? Let me give you some examples. So maybe you are in that family gathering. Okay. So maybe you are in a family gathering and your child is somehow not wearing, is wearing a dress that is not very comfortable to the child. My child maybe is pulling the dress here, there, this corner, that corner. Maybe you are kind of telling to the child, no, you're supposed to be wearing this dress. See, everybody is wearing such a nice dress, and if you wear something different or something casual, the other people would say, she just wore a normal dress, or whatever it is that you are saying. Now, you may not be saying exactly what I am telling here, but the point is this: you have to be aware of what you are saying to your child, right? All good? Or I'll give you another example. Or maybe again you are in a social gathering and you've kind of you've took a plate for your child for the meal time. You've served some dishes. You've not many, of course, not many, and you've got that to the child, and the child is saying, no, this I don't eat this. I won't eat this. Just one roti is enough. Just so much rice is enough. I don't want to eat this. I don't want to finish this. And then again, you are maybe saying, no, you have to eat this. Otherwise, I mean, whatever it is again that you are saying. Maybe that auntie will say that, or the grandfather will say this, the grandmother will say this, or you will be a good girl if you eat it, all of this and whatever it is. So when you are doing it, when you're saying she, the other people will say she, if you're, or maybe the child has fallen down the cycle, the other people will laugh at you. You are a big girl, you are a big child, you shouldn't be crying now. When you're doing that, when you're saying that, you are actually shaming the child, right? We may not be realizing what it is doing to the child, but it is actually shaming the child, right? So when we are doing that, why are we doing it? Again, truly speaking, if you are intentional about what you say to your child, you do not intentionally want to shame the child. No parent truly wants to or intentionally wants to hurt the child, either through thoughts or through words or through actions. Yes, so you did not want to shame the child. You did not want, your intention was not to shame the child. Or yes, all of that is valid, is true. But why did you do that? Well, I mean, what made you say that? Yeah, it's not about. Yeah, you can also, you can as well question yourself, why did you do that? But it's what I am trying to focus on is what made you say that. So when you are shaming the child, it did not come from your true self. You look around, you look at an auntie, you look at an uncle, and then you kind of create, you kind of think, oh my god, now that auntie comes here and that uncle comes here and says me that, oh, you did not get your child used to eating this vegetable, this vegetable, that frog, this frog. Oh my god, it gets so difficult for you to manage. When you go out, you have to carry your child's food everywhere, and then even maybe if your child doesn't eat this vegetable at this age, if you don't get them used to eating this, if you don't get them used to all these good manners and all these good stuff at this age, then it becomes so difficult when the child is an adult, they just don't listen to you. Yes, you kind of create that imaginary picture in your mind that somebody out there, some adult out there is going to come here and give me all that lecture. And even before that happens, let me pass down the shame to my child. That is how, when you are operating from a zone of shame, that means you have created an imaginary situation of some other person coming to you and shaming you, right? And then you get into a fearful mode. Oh my god, even before that happens, shaming the child. No, you should be eating, otherwise the other person will come and say, she, you're a bad girl, or whatever it is that you are saying to your child. Just be aware of what you are saying to your child. You may not be saying what I am telling here, right? The point is that what is a zone that you are operating from? What are you saying to your child? So what you are saying to your child is actually coming from the zone that you are operating from. Another example, maybe you are walking in your living room and the room is just filled with toys or whatever it is, and then you start to blame the child. Oh, you always mess up the room, or it's always me who cleans up, and it's always you who messes up. How many times I've told you to clean stuff up and you just keep it there. You just don't care about how the room looks and whatever it is that you are saying to your child. So what is it doing to the child? You are kind of blaming the child. So what is inside of you that is blaming the child? Again, being your true self, you do not want to blame the child, right? You do not want to blame the child. So what's happening here? What's happening? So when you walk into that room, it so happens that somewhere inside of you, again you create an imaginary situation that somebody is blaming you, somebody might be blaming you, or you are blaming your own self. Oh my god, now that I'm not keeping the room clean, or that person might think that I'm never keeping the room clean, or my child doesn't listen to me and some other person will judge about this to me. What again, depending on the situation that you have in your house, this kind of thought definitely comes to your mind that you tend to blame yourself. I am not able to keep the home clean, or how many times I do this just doesn't happen, things just don't stay in their place, right? Blaming yourself. So you are operating from a zone of blame. That means you are passing down the blame to your child. So again, scientifically and spiritually, that boils down to this frequency. At what frequency you are vibrating is what is coming out through words that you are speaking to your child, right? So when your child is already going through low frequency emotions, that is when you have to realize that is not the time when you have to associate yourself with shame or guilt or anger or fear or desire. You desire something else, but then it didn't happen. Yes, even that is a low frequency emotion if you actually look at the chart. Yes, so consciously, deliberately, you have to lift up yourself to the frequency of love. And that can happen when you realize the love that you already have. Yes, you do have love for your child. But the only thing is, you have to realize that love that you have for your child right at that moment when your child is not doing what you ask the child to do. That is when you operate from a zone of love, and whatever you are saying to the child comes through love, comes from love. And then you also operate from a zone of peace. Here, if you see, the frequency of peace is 600. You are operating of a zone of peace, and you bring in peace in that situation. You are not putting in more chaos, you are not adding more fuel to that fire, but you are actually bringing peace to that situation. Yes, it may not happen immediately. If you yell, maybe your child is going to do whatever you asked him to do immediately. But what are the emotions? What is the frequency of emotion running there? Fear. Your child was actually scared of your yell. And even you have some kind of fear which makes you yell that. I mean, fear of unexpected result or something. You just want this result and yeah, that's all. If I yell, I get this result, that's all. I'll yell. Something like that. So yeah, why you yell and all, let's keep it to the other to another video. But here I'd like to discuss about these frequencies of emotions that you are carrying inside of you. Yes, so when you operate from a frequency of love, the words that you choose to use are coming from love, and they bring in love to that situation. When you're operating from a zone of peace, you bring in peace in that situation. Even though the immediate result, it may not happen immediately and it may not give you the result, in long term it definitely helps, because you are operating from your genuine emotions. You're not going low in your emotions and you're not adding fuel to that fire. And for that matter, even when you yell and you get things done immediately, it actually has long term repercussions in times to come. Your child starts to become immune to your yells. They either tune out to your yelling, or they just take it for granted, right? Okay, my parent just yells and then she calms down. Let me continue what I'm doing. You will gradually be able to see all these things in the child when the child is 7 year or 8 year or maybe 10 year or 12 year. Yes, children also understand your emotions. Children understand your patterns and many things. There are many things that children understand. Now, so coming back to this chart, so what you are supposed to be aware of is this: when a person is going through low emotions, even for that matter, when you are going through low emotions, don't add fuel to that fire. Even again, putting so much guilt into yourself. Oh my God, this always happens to me, or again blaming yourself, or again shaming yourself. No, don't do that. You need love at that point of time, and you can love yourself. You are in that position where you can love yourself. Yes, just do something that you love and maybe read a book, maybe watch something. No, not binge watching. Watch something that inspires you, that shifts your vibration, or just do some writing work, or just do some reading or knitting or yoga or walking out in the nature, or just sitting in the nature. Yes, do what connects you with your own self. You are loving your own self. Yes, that is also valid for you. When you are going through low emotions, that is when love is most needed, and you deserve that. And when the child is going through low emotions, that is when the child needs love the most, and the child deserves that from the parent, from the adult around the child. Yes, the child deserves that. And when the child is not getting what he deserves, the child starts to the child's self-esteem starts to become low. Self-worth becomes low, because the child somewhere inside feels, I do not deserve this. Deserve I don't deserve to be heard. I don't deserve to be understood. I don't deserve to be valued. Yes, there are various things that I'm actually talking in this video: self-esteem, self-worth, frequency, vibration, emotion, and the zone that you are operating from. Yes, but just don't get confused. 3 important points. I'm going to summarize this, and the various other things that I've spoken in this video, I'm definitely going to again detail them in other videos. But for this video, as a summary, the 3 important points that you got to remind yourself is this: love is unconditional love. Yes, it does not have any conditions attached to it. The second thing is, when the child is going through low frequency emotions, that is when the child needs love the most. The third thing is, and when the child needs love the most, when the child is going through low frequency vibrations, you've got to operate from a high frequency emotion, that is love, that is 500 frequency. Even though you may not be able to quantify your frequency at that point of time, you will know how you feel inside of you. Are you feeling heavy or are you feeling light? Are you trying to bring in calmness or are you trying to add fuel to the fire? You will know. You have your own internal indicators, right? Are you creating more chaos or are you trying to bring in peace? You will know. So just summarizing this video for you. It went a little longer. Just summarizing this video for you. Your three points of focus for this video is love is unconditional. You got to love your child even when the child is not doing what you ask the child to do. Knowing that you love your child is different from the realizing the love that you have for your child is different from practicing the love that you have for your child at the time that it is needed the most. At the time that is needed the most. The second point that you got to focus on is child needs love the most when the child is going through low frequency emotions. The third point that you got to focus on is when the child is already going through low frequency emotions, you should be the one which is operating from a high frequency emotion, that is love, and not again coming from the low frequency emotion. And that is when you can bring in a loving solution, loving response, and you can bring in peace in that situation. Yes. So was this video valuable for you? If it was valuable, just type out valuable in the chat box and type out what did you learn from this video. What is the one thing that you're going to implement in the next 24 hours with your child, in the relationship that you have for your child. And don't also forget to check out the description box below. There are a lot many takeaways and lot many gifts for you that are mentioned in the description box below. And wherever it is that you are watching this video, just share some love, click that like button and subscribe button and all that stuff. So cheers, happy parenting, and maintain high frequency emotions. That is the best that you can do for anybody and even for your own self. Cheers, take care, bye bye.